What's going on, everybody? My name's Marco, and I'm here to talk to you guys about my top 4 reasons why Sony APSC is where it's at in 2021. Let's go. Alright, welcome to my channel again, everyone. I really appreciate you guys clicking on here. This is my first video, and I'm super excited to start this journey. Talking about camera gear, camera, photography, videography. So let's get started. This is going to be very high level, but hopefully a great introductory and help you decide if you should really join the APSC line. Alright, let's start with number 1, the price. So if you're like me, it's kind of difficult to convince your significant other that you're going to spend money on camera gear, especially if that camera gear costs an arm and a leg, and Jasmine, your little girl, needs diapers, or we need to go to the market, or etc, etc. But when I was doing research into what camera system I wanted to invest into, immediately the Sony APS-C line stuck out. My very first camera that I purchased was the Sony a6000. By industry standards, this camera is ancient, but if you look at it from just a quality perspective, this camera still holds up. Right now on Amazon, it's about 420 bucks used with the kit lens, which is a great deal and a great start. And even though this camera is ancient by, camera standards these days, the fact that you have now joined an ecosystem like the E-mount could be a benefit to you. As a comparison, the Sony a6400 right now goes for about 900 bucks, body only on Amazon. If you want to get it with the kit lens, it's about $999. So definitely, a good amount of money. But if you compare that to full frame prices or some of the other camera companies, that is genuinely a really good price. Now, so this is a crop sensor camera, so you are going to lose a little bit on the low light performance and a couple other things, but for the most part, the quality is there. It's gonna look great, especially for what you need it to do, which is gonna be family portraits, pictures of the kids, birthdays, videos, things like that. So if you got the budget to join the Sony APS-C line, now let's talk about number 2, which is the features. Depending on the camera that you do choose, whether it's the new series of cameras that recently were released, or the older series, you're gonna get great features. At the very least, you're gonna get 1080p HD. If you buy into the newer cameras, then you're gonna get 4K at 24 frames a second. Slow motion is an option in both. It just varies, right? My Sony a6000 shoots up to 60 frames a second. My 6400 shoots up to 120 frames a second. The color science in Sony is really great for me, meaning, you don't really have to do a lot of tweaks to the camera itself. Out of the box, it's gonna look pretty good. Now, if you wanna eventually learn how to color grade your footage and how to just enhance it and tweak a little bit, you can absolutely do that with either of them. From a father's perspective, what's extremely important for me is that my photos come out sharp. And because I have 2 little ones, a almost 4-year-old and an almost 1-year-old, they don't stay still, right? It's impossible to get them to sit still. So I need a camera that has amazing autofocus, and you're gonna get that with the a6000 line. Especially the newer line. My 6400, amazing autofocus. Eye autofocus in picture, face tracking in video. It makes it so easy to be able to pinpoint my focus and get sharp photos of my girls, which as a father is all I want. I want to be able to show off my girls on my Instagram and just brag at how beautiful they are. Another feature that my 6400 has, but not my 6000 because it's an older camera, is a microphone jack. I didn't really realize how important audio was to video until I actually started filming regularly. And the fact that I have a camera now that allows me to plug in a microphone is amazing, because where it would sound really echoey in the past. Now I have a microphone that's able to just really pinpoint the sound. And honestly, it lets me hear when, you know, my kids are talking shit about me and they think I'm not listening. So that's always a plus. All right, moving on to number 3. It's the physical size of these cameras, right? Look at this. As comparison, this is my hand. Look at this. You can fit it in my hand. Without a lens, you can literally stick this in your pocket. Okay, so those of you that are parents, those of you that just like to travel light in general, these cameras are perfect for that. Perfect for that. You know, when I go out with my girls and I'm taking them to the park, or I'm taking them to, you know, Universal Studios or whatever it is when they're open, I like to travel light. I don't like to necessarily have to not only carry, you know, their diapers, their bottles, their snacks, maybe an extra change of clothes, etc. Right? We all know the struggle. But I want to also be able to carry my gear and not feel like I took half my house. And with this, you know, line of cameras, you really feel like not only am I going to get really great photos, great video, but I'm not going to break my back carrying this stuff around. So the size is absolutely a huge sell. Huge sell. So contrary to popular belief, size does not matter, because you're still going to get that quality. You're still going to get kick-ass photos. You're going to make all the people from your high school that became parents super jealous because their photos look like shit and yours are looking super crispy. All right, last but not least, number 4, the lenses. The E-mount system has a plethora of lenses, which is something that me as a user greatly appreciates. If I had to pick some of my favorites, it would have to be the Sigma Trio, as most people call them. So it's going to be the 16mm f1.4, which is what I'm filming on right now, the 30mm f1.4, and the 56mm f1.4, all by Sigma. What's great about these lenses is obviously their low aperture, f1.4. You know, a lot of the reason why you might want to invest in a camera is to get that nice blurry background in your photos, right? Similar to what portrait mode does on your smartphone. Well, these lenses are going to be able to do that. Each one has its own uses, and I use each one pretty much every single day, or every time I take pictures of my kids or pictures for my clients. I recently started a photography business, polarized photography, link in the description down below. And these are the 3 lenses I use for all my shoots. Predominantly, I use the Sigma 56 f1.4. This is the sharpest lens that I've ever used. Granted, I don't have a huge experience with multiple lenses, but every video you watch on this bad boy, they're gonna tell you the same thing. The sharpness is ridiculous. The quality you're gonna get from this lens is fantastic. Obviously works great in low light because of that low aperture, and it's great for portraits. So anytime I want to take really nice portraits of my kids or my wife or all of us together, this is the lens I shoot for. The Sigma 30mm is also a good portrait lens. It's also going to give you that nice blurry background, but it's also going to capture some of the scene behind your subjects, obviously depending on how close or far you stand from your subject. But this is a really great one, especially if I'm trying to take photos of my kids and I want to make sure I give them a little leeway to run in and out of frame, right? Because our damn kids move so damn fast. What I'm filming on right now is the Sigma 16mm, which is my favorite video lens, especially for low light situations, things like this, sitting down talking to the camera, and it's great for photos as well. So group shots, you know, if we're in tight spaces or I can't really set the camera too far back, this is the lens that I go for. I've taken a lot of our pictures with this lens as well. So all 3 of these, highly recommend. The autofocus works great even though it's not a native lens. It's rare that I ever miss focus. So the last thing about these 3 lenses is you can't really beat it for the price. For roughly about $1,000 total for all 3, you're looking at $429 right now on Amazon for the 56 millimeter. The 30 millimeter you're looking at $259, and then the 16 is going for $370 right now. Really, like, it's gonna cover all the focal lengths that you're gonna need. You're gonna get that low aperture, you're gonna get nice blurry backgrounds, and you're gonna be able to shoot wide, you're gonna be able to shoot intermediate, and you're gonna be able to shoot those nice portraits. One thing to note about your lenses when it comes to Sony APS-C is the fact that you do have to calculate the crop factor, right? And some people might view this as the negative. I actually view it as a potential positive, and here's why. So for example, what we're filming on right now, the Sigma 16mm f1.4, it says 16 millimeters on it. If this was a full frame camera with a full frame lens that was 16 millimeters, that's what we would be getting. But on a crop frame camera, specifically a Sony, you have to multiply that by 1.5. And that's just because of the size of the sensor. The size of the sensor is a little bit smaller than a full frame. And so you gotta do a little bit of math there. So actually what we're filming on is equivalent to a 24 millimeter lens. And like I said, some people view that as a negative. I don't. I think it's actually can be beneficial for you, because my 56 millimeter turns into even more of a telephoto looking lens. Get great compression, great blurry background. You know, my 30 millimeter lens turns into a 45 millimeter lens, which is pretty close to 50, which is usually the ideal focal length for portraits, or you know, you hear a lot of people recommend a 50 millimeter, especially as your first upgrade. I think 24 millimeters is wide enough to vlog. You'll hear a lot of people that'll disagree with me, but at the end of the day, guys, you know, as parents, as people with tight budgets, as someone that's just getting into the photography game, you know, a lot of the things that you see online, a lot of the different, you know, influencers or people on YouTube that you'll watch their videos, and they're always going to promote, you know, the best quality stuff, and as they should. You know, I would love to be able to purchase all the gear in the world and, you know, have a lens for every special occasion, but that's not true for all of us. So although you do have a crop factor on these bodies and the lenses, you have to do a little bit of math. At the end of the day, it's not a big deal, and it's definitely not a deterrent for me when, you know, I decided to purchase a Sony APS-C camera. So to wrap things up, I know I didn't go into a ton of detail, but hopefully you got enough out of this video to really make your decision on whether or not you should join the APS-C gang. So if you feel like you got some value out of this video, please do me a favor, hit the like button. Please subscribe to my channel. We're going to be doing a bunch of these types of videos, as well as, you know, POV shots, doing street photography with my kids, maybe take you guys on some of my photo shoots for some of my clients, and then just talk about gear surrounding the Sony APS-C line. So if that interests you, hit the subscribe button, come join the journey, because, you know, at the end of the day, guys, I'm just a dad with a mustache and a camera, and I'm doing my best to take quality photos and videos for my kids, and now take you guys along for the ride. So yeah, first video in the books. I'm glad I did it. I had been thinking about starting this channel for a while, and I used to just give myself every excuse in the world, whether, you know, I just don't have time to film, the kids are, you know, dominate my time when I am home, but at the end of the day, if you want something, you're gonna go for it. It's 2 in the morning, my kids are sound asleep, my wife's asleep, probably in there snoring, sorry babe, but I'm here. I'm starting my YouTube journey. I'm starting it with you guys, so I really do appreciate you guys joining me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.